Good morning, class. Here's our second reading test. It's entitled A Visit to the Zoo. It was a beautiful spring day. Raj and his sister Adara were visiting the zoo with their parents. The family loved the zoo, and they tried to come every few weeks for a visit. Near every animal's home, there was a sign that told what kind of food it ate and where it lived in the wild. Today, the family noticed that the sign also had short poems about each animal. Raj and Adara were excited, but the new signs, and couldn't wait to read all the poems. Adara wanted to know what was written about her favorite animals, the prairie dogs. She led her family to the prairie dog exhibit and read, "Prairie dogs are funny clowns, popping up and popping down. As their head rises through the ground, they stare at you without a sound." Obviously, our rhyme scheme has all the same sounds at the end. That poem really explains how prairie dogs act, Adara said. She wondered what the other poems would say. Next up was the duck pond. Raj read the sign. Now you notice that this story is written from third-person point of view. It's somebody from the outside looking in. Notice every time they talk about a character, they say its name. There's no I's in here. So this one's third-person point of view. What did I do wrong here? 14. There's 15. The ducks are marching robots. They follow their leader. Two run while one trots, robots trots, going to the feeder. Alright, so we got A, B rhyme scheme on that one. That's exactly how they walk, laughed Raj. Next, Adara and Raj led their parents to the reptile house. Inside, they visited the python. It's your turn to read, Raj said to Adara. She read the sign. Slithering, sliding, all day long, the python sings his snaky song. He tells of adventures and glorious meals while gliding silently toward your heels. All right. Exciting. Yikes, Adara shouted. I have shivers from reading that one. I'm glad it can't get out of its habitat. Next, they walked to the monkey cage. Inside, the monkeys screeched like sirens. Everyone plugged their ears as Raja shouted, "Let's skip the monkeys today. They're too loud." As they wandered past some peacocks, they noticed that one had his tail feathers fully open. "Peacocks are so graceful," Adara said to Raj. "The markings on their feathers look like jeweled eyes keeping watch over the birds." "You sound like a poet," Raj said. "Maybe we should think of our own poems of some animals." At lunchtime, the family talked about the animals they had seen. They tried composing a few poems of their own. Then Raj and Adara played tag and ran until their legs turned to rubber. Not really. Finally, it was time to go home. Exhausted, Raj and Adara walked to the car with smiles on their faces. It had been a wonderful day. All right. Number 11. Should have your answer key yet. I got mine right over here. Number 11. Now answer the numbers 11 through 20 based on a visit to the zoo. Who is telling the story? Is it Raj, I, and Adara, I, or an outside narrator, or a zookeeper? Now, I'll give you a hint. It's not the zookeeper. Okay? Number 12. Read the following sentence from the passage. Prairie dogs are funny clowns, popping up and popping down. Why is the author comparing prairie dogs to clowns? Prairie dogs are not very funny. Prairie dogs dress like clowns. Prairie dogs have cute little ears and noses. Prairie dogs do things that make people laugh. Now, one of those is what a clown does, and prairie dog does the same things. That's why it's a good comparison. Read the following lines from the passage. The ducks are marching robots, following their leader. Why does the author compare ducks to robots? The ducks are robots that look like ducks. So all those ducks out there aren't real ducks. They're just robots. Okay, the ducks in the zoo are actually robots. Okay, the ducks in the line all walk together in the same way. The ducks follow their leader so they know where to go. All right, which would make you think it looks like a robot? And ducks aren't robots, so don't get tricked by A or B. Number 14. What does Raj's family see first? That one's easy. I'm not going to mess this up. I'm going back to finding exactly where the story started. Here we are visiting the zoo. Where they go? They told take the family. They know small signs. Modern were excited, but the signs couldn't wait. Dara wanted to know what was written about her favorite animal, the prairie dogs. What did they see first? The prairie dogs. Ducks, monkeys, peacocks, prairie dogs. There it is. I'm glad I went back and reread. When you go back and reread, especially questions like that, you can find the answer for sure. 15. Read the following sentence from the passage. Inside the monkey screeched like sirens. The simile screeched like sirens means the monkeys were soft and quiet, loud and piercing, calm and soothing, pleasant and joyful. Think of what an ambulance sounds like in the middle of the night, or a police officer's car. 16. It says, read the following sentence from the passage. The markings on their feathers look like jeweled eyes keeping watch over the birds. What does the simile look like jeweled eyes means? The feathers actually have eyes? The feathers are creepy. The feathers are beautiful. The feathers are expensive. I'll give you a hint. It's not that the feathers are expensive. Number 17. With which statement would the speaker of the Python poem most likely agree? Pythons can be sneaky. Pythons are fun to watch. Pythons have many talents. Pythons are curious animals. If you read the one about the pythons, remember it talked about telling you glorious stories as it glides silently towards your heels. Remember, pythons will wrap you around and try to suffocate you, and so he's distracting you while it's getting close to you. Does that mean they're sneaky, they're fun to watch, they have talents, or they're curious animals? '18. Which line from the Prairie Dog poem best shows the speaker's point of view? Prairie dogs are funny clowns, popping up and popping down. They stare at you without a sound as their heads rise through the ground. Which one would give you what the author thinks about prairie dogs? It's got to be their opinion. This one is what the prairie dog does. This is what the prairie dog does. This is what the prairie dog does. And I think this is the one that where the author says, here's what I think. I think they're funny. So that one I gave it away. 19. Which detail from the duck poem least supports the speaker's point of view? So we got to figure out what the speaker's point of view is. The ducks are marching robots, following their leader. Two run, while one trots, going to the feeder. So what's the opposite of what the poet thinks of the ducks? They are moving quickly. The ducks are marching. They are going to get food. They are following the leader. And number 20. Read this sentence from the passage. As they wander past some peacocks, they notice that one has his tail feathers fully open. Which word means the same, a synonym for wandered? Waddled, walked, whistled, and wondered. It's not wondered. Ducks waddle. So you're down to either walked or whistled. Alright guys, this brings us to the end of our multiple choice portion of our test. In the next one, we'll take a look at the essay and we'll get you guys started on that.